Many Magic players continue to voice concerns and frustrations over the 30th anniversary, but now we have Phyrexia All will be one coming out February 10th. How is that affecting pre-orders? The news might shock you. Some habits are harder to kick than others. Welcome back, everyone. MTG Moxman here. Thanks for taking time out of your day and hanging out with me here on the channel as we talk about what's going on with Phyrexia All will be one and the pre-orders. Now, for most players out there, in case you don't know what a pre-order is, originally a pre-order was a way of guaranteeing the item on release day. I remember doing it for like Halo 2, standing in line in the freezing cold to make sure I would get my allocation of one copy for me and a friend. And when it came out with Magic the Gathering, earlier releases could sell out. It did happen. I remember standing in line at some of the local shops here like 401 Games and just hoping to get a copy of World Wake, hoping they didn't sell out. That is long since gone. Years have gone by before there's been any real concerns about ordering a sealed box at a pre-release. Continued price increases from Wizards of the Coast have made the player base even more reluctant to buy sealed product and more unmanageable for the average player to afford. Adding in the 30th anniversary collector packs at $250 a pack really turned a lot of players sour on anything sealed, and they've all started moving toward the singles market. Now, for players of Commander who really only need a one of anything they buy, those players were already in that singles market buying cards individually and making some awesome deck additions with each and every Magic release, picking out the cards they needed to make their decks more fun and more effective. But now you're starting to throw in other groups of players who traditionally would buy sealed products, but with all the things I've mentioned right now, they're having more pressure. And with that pressure, a lot of them caved in. With all the negativity from the 30th anniversary, some gave up. And now we have a very crowded singles market with less sealed product being opened. Now we get to where we need to be, which is the pre-orders coming up for Phyrexia All will be one. Typically, the applied logic used when a new draft set is released is to wait 90 days after the set releases before buying any expensive singles you might be looking for, in the hopes that those prices settle down. Because most of the times in the past, these cards do fall in price as more product is opened and flushed into the market by players. But if those cards fail to materialize in the secondary market, if your local LGS normally had 7 or 8 players opening boxes and trading in the leftovers that they didn't care about, imagine if that LGS doesn't get those cards to resell on the secondary market. Factor in things like Card Kingdom, TCG Player, Card Market, anywhere you happen to be buying cards, imagine those places don't get as many sent to them, don't have as many to sell. Imagine how much more competitive the singles market becomes. The rule of supply and demand really will take effect in a market like that. Where there is a high demand for certain cards but a very low supply, you will see price increases as people fight and become more competitive to get the cards they want in a market that doesn't have boxes being opened like they were before. With the information I've managed to gather from the local store level, pre-orders, right? Any pre-order card from the single side of Phyrexia All will be one are up 70% over the Brothers War. 70% higher influx of customers trying to buy singles. The boxes, anything sealed, including the Commander decks, continues to see a lower rate of return. Okay, they're up about 30% over the Brothers War, but that's still down about 50% year over year. So you have an increase in desirability for singles. You have less boxes being opened by the average consumer. You're probably thinking, why doesn't the store just open more boxes, Moxman? Why aren't they just cracking more boxes to meet that demand and get more money from the customer? Because of Baldur's Gate. Baldur's Gate, with those dragons being so hard to get, and with most of the cards being mediocre and no other value being there, it has a lot of stores nervous about trying to do any type of mass box opening. And you're not really sure how any set's going to turn out in the long run, so you need to get a return on those boxes right away. Asking the stores to take all that risk and maybe sell a couple of cards out of each one, not knowing how hard an Elish Norn Mother of Machines will be to get, not knowing what cards will be equally difficult or equally easy, means that all the risk is on the stores, and they're probably not going to do it. Out of all the stores I spoke to, only 3 were doing any type of significant box opening. Most of the small stores are going to say they're totally reliant on players turning cards in. They're not willing to take the risk of getting bad boxes or a bad product. And it all stems back to Commander Legends, in name only, Baldur's Gate. That's what really, all the conversations kind of came back to that. From the store side of things, that's what they were looking at. This is going to be a tight market, and that is why these pre-orders are going up. Players know it. Even if they're not 100% sure that that's what's going to happen, they realize from even Dominaria United, Sheoldred is not in every box. It is a harder card to get, hence the price. And this will work towards Wizards of the Coast's favor, because if these cards have high value, it gives them equity reprint value later on in other products like Secret Layers. Keep that in mind. If you can wait a year or so, you might still see these products and these difficult cards to get coming around again. But most players, including myself, do not want to wait a year to get my hands on any particular card. I'm willing to wait a couple of months to see if the prices settle, but asking for a year or two for a Secret Layer or a reprint in the list can be a pretty hard thing for anybody to wait. And that's why what's happening in the market is just so shocking at this point. Seeing that many pre-sale orders go up and see that many cards being sought after by players at the pre-sale value, because, all these cards usually fall after they get, into the market. But if there's not going to be a lot out there, if that influx of cards never comes around, never materializes, we are going to be in a very, very different world going forward for Magic the Gathering. Until the boat rights itself and players find value with the stores finding value and other players maybe having that kind of thing where, hey, you know what, maybe it is better to open boxes. Maybe we're going to go back to opening boxes because some of the values of these cards are just so high. I mean, I'm sure the next 6 months in Magic is going to be a very exciting time for players. We have some great upcoming sets. We have cards that people are going to want to get their hands on. Players desire these cards. And how is that all going to work out in the financial side of Magic the Gathering in the secondary market, in that space that will be so tight and restrictive if players aren't opening boxes as much as they used to? And you can say, oh, it's only a minority of players that aren't going to dive into these boxes. I don't care if it's even 3%, 5%, 2%. If you have players who are opening 6 boxes, opening none, it affects the market. It makes it that 6 boxes that much tighter. Times that by 20, 30, 40, 100, 2,000, who knows how many players, it makes it that much more difficult. It makes it that much more likely that these cards will be harder to get and will hold a higher value in the secondary market. And that could mean a lot of things, and I can't wait to see how it plays out. I'm not going to say they're not going to drop in price. I'm not going to say that won't drive more players to open boxes. It just makes me think that we're in a different space. And the habits of players maybe not buying boxes has shifted with the glut and the amount of boxes out there. All those Amazon dumps just turned so many investors and collectors off. But now you've got the players. And those players still want the cards. And that's going to lead to that competitive market we probably haven't seen for a while. We haven't seen it that way. Most cards tank in price. And I want to see if these cards tank as well. I want to see if they drop down. Because even some of the Brothers Wars cards, they're holding. Some have seen a little bit of an uptick. Cards like Ledger Shredder, not really dropping anymore, are they? Because New Capenna already got passed over. You got cards in Kamigawa Neon Dynasty that aren't dropping the way they would have been this far into their life cycle. There is a pattern here. And it's becoming more apparent, which is why I think the pre-orders are actually going to matter going forward. Maybe not in the next 6 months, but it's going to get tighter and tighter, and more players will be driven to try to get in and get their prices. And how many stores out there, how many card kingdoms, snowball castles, whatever you want to say in the nacho cheese universe, how many of those stores are going to honor it? If they see prices going up, are they going to cancel your order? I mean, this is going to lead to just that crazy time that you don't expect. And I wonder how shocked players are going to be when this comes around. Because I don't think it's like if it comes around, I think it will. Because I know so many people not buying boxes. So many stores not opening boxes. How can it not affect the market? Interesting times are ahead. Everyone out there, thanks a lot for hanging out with me on the channel. I appreciate your time you spent with me today. I can't wait to see the comments in the comments section, because I know a lot of you guys out there on my channel are buying singles. So how do you think that's going to work out for you? Did you already get pre-orders in? Are you going to crack a few packs and see if you get lucky? Going to take the gambler's ride? That's what I want to know. Thanks a lot, everyone. Have an awesome day in the world of magic. And of course, I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow for another video. Have a great day, everyone. Hey guys, a thank you and shout out to all the fantastic patrons on my channel who make this channel happen. Without their continued support, we wouldn't be able to produce the content we're producing now. Thanks again, everyone. When you take a look at this set and how players are, there's a lot of excitement, guys. Remember, 4 million views just for the trailer. The Reddit board is full of people who want to get into this set. This is going to be that one I think Wizards is hoping for. They're hoping that this is going to turn things around. I'll be really interested to see how the secondary market reacts to those cards. So anyway, thanks for being here. Thanks for being the people who make it right to the end. You made it all the way down, and then before you know it, something comes along and the video just goes